Shalom people, this is Brother Laos coming at you with another video. And today Donald Rumsfeld, two-time Secretary of Defense for United States, passed away at age 88. Donald Rumsfeld was one of the architects to get us back into Iraq for a second war, with Saddam over the weapons of mass destruction that turned out to be totally false. He is what I consider to be a principality. You know, where in Ephesians it says rulers of darkness, powers, principalities. Donald Rumsfeld definitely was one. He was, and you can go back and look at some of the pictures when he was Secretary of Defense the first time that he brokered the deal with Iraq for them to get the chemical weapons that they used in the Iran-Iraq war. That was a sort of a proxy war for America, because they gave military aid to Iraq to fight against Iran, because Iran had overthrew the Shah, and then they had the hostage crisis where they had took those Americans in the embassy and held them for that long period of time until Reagan was elected president, and they released them. But in that Iran-Iraq war, where a lot of chemical weapons were used, I think they said either one side or both sides might have lost over 1 million troops, not to mention the civilians that were killed. And then that afterward, Saddam used those same chemical weapons that we sold to him to kill the Kurds, and we stood by, or this country stood by and let it happen. So he definitely has a lot of blood on his hands, and so does many other leaders that have been here in America. But Donald Rumsfeld, he had that particular look of decrepitness, and I don't know, that smugness about himself, especially that time that the one soldier was talking to him about the Humvees being easily destroyed because they was not armored, and he told the soldier, you go to war with not what you wish you had, but with what you got, basically, and how it was just kind of smug how he said it, and it's just, to me, one more sign that the Most High is moving. He's taking their pieces off the board. Now, ultimately, we know that the Antichrist is going to, the final, let's say the final, not because the Antichrist spirit is already here, and many Antichrists have come, but the final one that comes, he's going to get out, in front of the people and be able to deceive them. But he has many predecessors, those that come before him, people like Donald Rumsfeld, who more so, for sake of analogy, would be a false prophet, whereas George Bush was the president of the United States when we went into that war. But Donald Rumsfeld was sort of him and Dick Cheney and Condoleezza Rice. They were sort of like false prophets, piping in the ears of the UN and the American people about weapons of mass destruction, and George Bush had it in his heart and mind to finish the job that his father finished, and he sent these 3 out to pump the country up, which was already hyped up from the 9/11 attacks and us being in war with Afghanistan at the time, and then also the fact that him and Cheney and Bush and all of them signed off on these torture prisons that were all over the world, so much so that in some countries they had arrest on site orders for George Bush, Dick Cheney, and Donald Rumsfeld. So again, this is a major blow to the powers that be. One of their principalities today has come down, because ultimately when the devil gets done with you, you gotta pay your due, and the day was his day. I'm not into, I try to stay away from the gematria thing, so I can't really say what the significance of 88 is. I just know that the day was his day, and you know, for me to look back at, you know, the things that he's done, he definitely has a lot of blood on his hands. You know, you haven't heard a lot from Condoleezza Rice or Colin Powell, who were the other two mouthpieces that they were using a lot to trump up this weapons of mass destruction thing. But you know, everyone has their day. You know, even us who have been covered in the blood, you know, you look at David and the innocent blood of Uriah that David hands shed. The Bible told David that the sword would never depart out of his house, and we see up into even on David's deathbed, you know, it was unrest and bloodshed being done, because of, even though the Most High forgave his sins, you know, there was a price for that innocent blood. And I would say that Donald Rumsfeld and other Pied Pipers, for this war on terror that they started, he had a lot of blood on his hands. So we're just gonna continue to pray that, as you know, we pray that the prayer of Ephesians, talking about putting on the whole armor of God and bringing down these principalities, that we will, in the coming days, the Most High will show his great power. Because we just gotta be honest, with all this stuff going on, there has been great fear and consternation amongst our people about what is our fate. Even though we see, you know, the Derek Chauvin thing going on, we understand that this will not change the policing techniques, and let's understand this. I don't hate the police. I do think that police forces are necessary, even the fact that the founding of them was on the slave patrol. They do a service to hold back crime to a certain thing. But the problem is, because Satan is the god of this world, he's on both sides of the aisle of the police force and the crime. What the Most High was wanting us to do was to have such an influence, not a total takeover of, because again, Satan is the god of this world, but to have such an influence that the police forces that Satan does control would sometimes be a benefit to the people. The problem with this fact for us is that majority of the time that we have been in this country, the police forces have been, for the most part, against us. But the Most High, you know, until his son Yeshua come back to rule the earth with a rod of iron, will have these forces in place, and therefore it behooves us to be prayerful. But it's good to see some of their soldiers be given some type of punishment, so that they won't be as eager as before to do some of the unjust things that they do. And the problem that I have is not if you got some super criminal or super drug dealer that you trying to arrest, but it's the innocent people that wasn't doing anything, maybe speeding, you know, maybe fearful because they had maybe a failure to appear for court warrant on them. It wasn't really anything bad, but then the people got scared and then they took off and ran, and then they shot them or something. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about obviously a guy that just shot up a bank and killed a lot of people and you coming after him and you got to stop him or whatever. I mean, I can even understand that, but it's the innocent people like Sandra Bland, people like Breonna Taylor, where they had the wrong house. You understand? They had the wrong house. That's what's upsetting. And this stuff more so has happened, and also the times when they would just plant stuff, or just for whatever reason just, you know, make up stories. And so we had this great consternation and fear to witness that George Floyd worldwide execution for over 9 minutes, to put that fear into our people, just galvanize it, and to make us rise up and say, but still to see that they went on from that to went on to this push for this CV jab that was pushed toward us, like we put our knee on your neck, you push back, we don't like it, now we just gonna jab you in the arm and shut you up. That is like a consternation and fear amongst some of our people. And it's good to see that the Most High is saying, look, your fear is unfounded. I haven't given you the spirit of fear. I'm going to start taking out some of their pieces to let you know that I can reach out and touch them whenever I want to. But I have to test your faith. I got to test and see, is your faith in me, or is your faith in the justice system being reformed? Just understand that I will protect you, I will deliver you. So I suspect to see that in the coming months, that the Most High, we're going to start seeing more of their chess pieces being taken off, because the devil is not the equal to Yah. The Antichrist, whoever he may be, the final one, is not the equal to Yah. The false prophet is not the equal to the Holy Spirit. They're not. In his own time. And that's why the Bible said we had this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power of Yah might not be in us, but in Yah. He did this to also to prove us, to help us live out those scriptures that we say to people about not having the spirit of fear. Yah is putting us to the test, and I think he's showing his great power, and he's going to do it more and more in the future. So I'm praying. I'm praying. I'm fasting. Not nothing ridiculous. You understand what I'm saying? Because the Bible tells us to be careful that we don't fast for debate and we don't fast for strife, right? But we praying and fasting his word. We praying and fasting his proclamations through the scriptures that David said about protecting us from our enemies and showing his great power against our enemies. This is what we trust in it, because we started these prayers, you know, maybe over 3 years ago. You know, as we start picking up more understanding about who we are, and Yah had placed it in me and my white heart that as we get closer to Yeshua's coming back and more of his revealing of who we are, that the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous man, not just how can I say it, not that we have a superiority in a sense, but as he lifts the curses off of his people, the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous believer who is of the bloodline of the 12 tribes will become more effectual. It will become more effectual. And also that those prayers that our ancestors was in slavery, when they was praying for the Most High to take vengeance on their enemies, as we lift up those prayers, as we lift up and get in agreement with those things, we will start seeing these things. That's why the Most High said that my chosen vessels, we must be clean on the inside and out, because we can't offer up these things. We can't come before his throne, as in always, even from the time we got born again, but especially in this time that we have to check our heart when we come to the throne room, because the judgment is coming swift and hard. Because you can remember in Revelations, right, that as the seal, the bowl, and all those different judgments came, that even the angels, when they were coming into the throne room of Yah, that as he was releasing these judgments, even they, the Bible said, could not stand because of the power that was being released, because all these prayers and all these proclamations and all these fastings that were in these bold judgments. Because remember, he said that the angel took the coals off of the altar and put it in the censer, and the coals raising up had the prayers of the saints rising up. So all those prayers that were being offered up, he put them in the censer, and the Bible said how he took them, he spun them, he threw them down toward earth. That our prayers are going to be returning to us faster than we think. And they're not just going to be our prayers, they're going to be all the multiplied prayers over the years, that Yah is now going to start one after one after one after one, answering those prayers that some of our ancestors died waiting for the answer. That not only we get the answer for them, but we will get answers for our prayers. And I'm sure it was somebody that was praying about Donald Rumsfeld, about the tortures that he signed off on, some of the assassinations that he signed off on, some of the snatch and grabs of people in foreign countries that were considered to be enemy combatants, and was taken to torture chambers that somebody's prayers was being offered up, and they might have died waiting, and now he's had his day. So with that, I'm going to end this video and ask you to give it a thumbs up, to leave a comment, and subscribe. Be blessed.